Our special guest today, the Executive Director of the Jacksonville Onslow County Sports Commission, Scott Smith. First things first, the Jacksonville Jamboree is this Friday.
And it's going to be at Northside High School, and we want lots of folks to come out because this is the best chance to see all of the area teams in action before the season really starts for real on the 18th of August. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about the mechanics. How do you get admission? Do we have admission at the gate? Are we pre-selling tickets?
Sure. So for pre-sales, you can go to eventbrite.com. Just put in Jacksonville, North Carolina. It'll be one of the first things that pop up. You can purchase those ahead of time or at the gate, obviously, that evening. $6 entry. Kids 5 and under are free. And you can, it's going to be a cash-only event. This is the Marine Federal Credit Union Jamboree, so they will have an ATM on site if you need that.
Makes sense. Now, this starts Friday at 5. When will the gates open for folks to actually come in and get their seats?
Yeah, so the gates will open about 30 minutes before. We're going to have the opening ceremonies will begin at 5:15 with the national anthem, etc. And then 5:30 the plays start. And as you said, Kathy, if you want to scout every team, this is it. Place 16 teams, so we have all 8 county schools and then 8 additional schools from surrounding areas.
Now, there's going to be what's called a tailgate village, and we will mention there are no coolers allowed inside the stadium.
Correct.
Now, can we bring food from the tailgate village inside?
Yes. So we'll have, it's going to be sponsored by Bob's Auto Center. There'll be 4 or 5 food vendors set up there. And then, of course, inside the gate, Northside High School will also have their typical concession stand open as well. So plenty of food choices and plenty of things to do and see there around as you come into the gate.
And you can give a shout out to your sponsors because you can't do this without them.
Absolutely. I mean, it would be very hard to put on this event without Marine Federal, without Bob's Auto Center. And then, of course, we have Golden Corral and Honey Baked Hams and those folks that help us with feeding volunteers and VIPs, because that is a long time for volunteers to be out there working. So obviously we've got to take care of them as well.
Now, there is some extra parking for this event, and we haven't mentioned yet, some of the activity will be going on the varsity fields at Northside High, but the JV is going to be playing kind of next door.
Yeah, so essentially the Tailgate Village parking lot separates the 2 fields. So once you buy a ticket to get into the gate, you have access to the tailgate area, and then you have access to both fields there. So there's plenty of parking there at the high school. You have the middle school there, and really even on the back side you have the elementary school. And so there's, especially with some people coming and going based on when their team plays, obviously we want you to stay the whole night, but we know people will be coming and going. There should be plenty of parking at all times there and easy access points from any direction. And
they can get the whole schedule, and they can kind of get up to date on any changes by going to a website that has been set up just for this event.
Yeah, footballjamboree.com. It's a great website. Should have everything you need there. I think there's also that Eventbrite link for buying tickets ahead of time. If you know you're coming, go ahead and buy your tickets. That'll help speed up the lines at the gate, and just go ahead. We had somebody, I think, bought 9 tickets online today at one time, just speed up the process.
And I was able to attend the Jamboree last year, and there was a lot of good quality football teams on the field last year. I remember watching Kinston play. We were able to see White Oak out there. We were also able to see, of course, the home team, the Northside Monarchs, who made it all the way to the state championship last year before losing to Shelby by a score of 28-6 in the championship game. But there was a lot of football to see at the Jamboree.
And let's talk a little bit about how is the format set this year? How will they be playing? Will they be playing series of downs, or will there be just a clock?
Yeah, so just picture the field there. You'll have 2 teams on one end, 2 teams on the other end. Same thing for the JV, and it'll be a 30-minute running clock. And so the coaches, they can do whatever they want to there, practicing offense, defense. The officials will be calling penalties. We won't mark off the penalties. That will take up too much time. And you're basically working from the 40 in anyway, so there's not a whole lot of room to mark off some of those 10 and 15-yard penalties. And then there'll be a 5-minute break, obviously per the state rules with the heat and everything, water break. And then they'll flip who they're against there on each side of the field and go another 30 minutes. Then there'll be a small break, and then 4 new teams will take the field. So let's say that Jacksonville's up first. Let's say you're a Jacksonville fan. You're going to get to see them for 1 hour essentially with some 5-minute water breaks there before 4 new teams take the field.
What accommodations are we going to be making for the weather other than the heat?
Well, obviously we'll be watching the weather all week. Typical rules, we'll be watching for lightning and those sort of things, and if we need to do a weather delay, we will do that. Hopefully we get these little quick showers all week, and we won't get so much rain that the field will just be in terrible condition. So hopefully we'll be okay with that, and then other than that, it'll just be typical time. Should there be an injury on the field, the clock will continue to run, because obviously you've got 2 other teams at the other end, and so they'll continue to do what they're doing. Obviously we hope no serious injuries, but if it takes a minute or 2 to get someone off the field, that clock will run. We'll take the break and then go back to play.
Some of the things in the Jamboree that you look at is practice for the players, but there might be some other guys out on the field and they need a little bit of practice too.
Well, sure, the officials will be out there, and we had a meeting this morning, and it's very interesting. So really a great opportunity for the players. The officials will be talking to the players a lot during this as well, saying, hey, watch your hands there, or hey, in a game we may have to call that a penalty. So they're really getting some education as they're out there playing. Obviously it's good warm up for the officials as well, but they'll be given as much instruction probably as the coaches in a lot of situations, and it'll be a great barometer for the players to kind of know what they can do and can't do as they head into the season.
Sure, we were talking about one of the changes from last year to this year. They called it face guarding, and that's where a defender who is covering a receiver is not playing the ball, looking at the defender, raising his arms in the air. In the NFL, they call it face guarding. Right. That is now allowed in high school football.
Yeah, so it's really sounds like it's on the receiver now to track the ball and make that catch regardless. As long as the hands aren't on there, it appears that they can kind of put the hands up in the face and do that. And I'll tell you, years ago I was involved in it was called a control scrimmage. It was the Falcons, and then at that time the Tennessee Oilers before they became the Titans. And if you've never seen, and this is essentially what this is, if you've never seen it, it's really interesting because there's so much action going on in the field. There's not a lot of stoppages. You may see one team down here working on goal line defense. You may see another team working on, a corner route to the end zone. So there's almost so much going on that you can't watch it all. So if you've never seen anything like this and you're a football fan, you need to come out and watch this.
I tell you what, there's a lot of effort that goes into putting the Jamboree together. Can you talk to us a little bit about some of the ups and downs, if you will, of having to get this all in place?
Well, sure. And I've told people for years, all the fans go to a sporting event to watch a sporting event, and then they go home, hopefully happy. They don't think about all the behind-the-scenes activities that have to take place, nor should they have to. They're there to enjoy the game. But you start talking about every little detail, and again, I'm brand new. I've been here less than a month. So Marisa in our office has done an unbelievable job getting all these things organized. I mean, not only do you have to worry about gates and security and food for the volunteers and officials and setting up where the tailgating village is going to go and who's going to control parking and where the officials are going to park and where the teams are going to. I mean, there's so many details that people never think about. For an event like this, bringing in portalets and just on and on and on. So it is a lot of work. And for us here at the Sports Commission, our number one job is to foster economic development. But number two is quality of life for residents of Onslow County. Obviously, this is not bringing in a lot of hotel nights and economic impact, but it is an unbelievable event if you live in this county and can come see every single football team at one event.
And I'll tell you another thing about this event. Last year we had the opportunity to watch not only a lot of good teams, but a lot of individually good football players. As a matter of fact, this year, Kathy, we have 3, just from Northside alone, 3 committed Division I football players.
We have one player who is committed to the Naval Academy, and that is Demetrius Jones. We have Maurice McIntyre, who unfortunately was injured and did not get to play last season, but impressed the folks at Duke so much that he is committed to Duke University. And then we have Jaira Wilson, who will be going to East Carolina University. So 3 D1 commits on the team for Northside, and I know we have a lot of other good players in the county as well. So an opportunity to see some real talent.
Sure. Well, to see all of these schools, you'd really have to do some planning and traveling. But here you can see them all in one night. And again, if you're a diehard, you can show up at 5:15 and stay till probably 11:15, 11:30 and see everybody. And if you're not that much of a diehard, you can come out for your team or a few teams. Now, we've mentioned Northside several times. Them being the home team, they're actually last on the field, so they'll take the field at 10 o'clock and be done about 11:15 if you want to come out and see them. But, you talked about all the work that goes into it. Really just doing this schedule alone, you can imagine, because we tried not to have people matched up against somebody they were facing in week 1 or week 2. And it's like putting a puzzle together, because no matter what you do, it always sort of causes another problem. So we just had to do the best we can. And again, I'm just getting here. Marissa's only been in the position for like a year, and so we were going on some notes and everything from last year. But she did a great job, and Jordan, our intern, has worked hard. And then, of course, all the volunteers that have made everything else happen.
There are some other fall sports coming up, and the Sports Commission is involved in some other things as well.
Sure.
One thing we'll mention coming up a little bit later this month, the Battle of the Beach, and that's the big tune-up for our local soccer teams. Of course, the Hue will be bringing you a full season of soccer this year, so we're going to try to get down and get some social media from that event. But the Sports Commission also helps facilitate that.
Sure, yeah, that's August 18th and 19th, and it's not a scrimmage, but in a way it's sort of like the Jamboree in that you can go see all the local teams at one event play that. So that's exciting. Obviously, the boys here coming up, the girls are in the spring. So again, it's almost like a Jamboree. If you're a soccer nut, you can go see all those teams at one time.
And as you mentioned, the commission is involved in a lot of things, maybe things that we don't always notice in Onslow County, designed to bring people into the county so they
Sure.
can see what we have to offer. We just had the International Senior Softball Association in town a little bit earlier this summer for a big tournament, and I'm sure you have a lot coming up later this year.
Yeah, so like senior softball, I think there are like 18 out-of-town teams, and they're here for 2 or 3 nights. So obviously the hotels and restaurants are happy about that. We support the Marine Corps Half Marathon coming up September 16th, and can't give you a lot of information yet, but we are working on a water-based event also for the 16th. This year will probably just be a lot of fun activities for the locals. Next year we plan to have a water-based competition that will be bringing out-of-towners in for that. And then, of course, the Color Vibe Run is in September as well. So a lot of great events coming up as the weather starts to cool off here, for folks to be involved in. And then, as we get into 2018, we've got our boxing event, and we've got our Hall of Fame banquet, and all of those things. So I'm excited to get in here and get involved and get all those things hopefully bigger and better.